Good afternoon. It's another wonderful day on the program, 60 Minutes Nigeria, a current affairs program where we dissect topical issues, especially that of national interest. My name is Egosa Agbolao. I have with me very distinguished, eminent personalities who will dissect today's topic because we are looking at campaigns, especially as Nigerians prepare for the polls in 2023. I've always said on this program that nothing seems to be of importance more than the 2023 polls, where it is believed that Nigerians can get it right, get their leaders right, and of course their aspiration to be fulfilled. I have with me Ambassador Andrew Eigalua, popularly known as Tigana. He's a communication expert, a strategist, analyst, and a very well-traveled personality. Nice to have you with us today.
Good afternoon, viewers.
Okay. I also have with us Mr. Omorogbe Iwanfo. He's also a very, very distinguished personality, well-traveled, and a resource person, and of course, somebody that knows the nitty-gritty of the political terrain in Nigeria. Mr. Iwanfo, nice to have you on the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yes.
Good afternoon, viewers.
Okay, so we have said we're looking at the campaigns. Don't forget that only this time around, what Nigerians seem to have desired, what they call the third force, is very, very conspicuous in the ongoing politicking ahead of the 2023 elections. The Labour Party is now the third force. So when you talk about politicking, you talk about the electoral process. In previous elections, you just talked about two major parties. Sometimes you just talk about the PDP, the APC, but that's not to be. This time around, you must talk about the Labour Party. And the man behind the scene, behind what I would call the big masquerade, is Peter Obi, former governor of Anambra State. He seemed to have brought a lifeline to the Labour Party that has become somehow a bride, a well-sorted after bride in Nigeria. But there are criticisms against the Labour Party. We are not to discuss that. Election will determine. The PDP remains a formidable force in Nigerian political history. And of course, we have the ruling party, the APC. They also believe that they will come back. And some candidates at different levels believe that they have the president's antecedent to maintain. I won't do the talking. Okay, but what seems to be very disturbing, before my guests will make their comments, is the campaign of calumny. Campaign of calumny. And that is very, very detrimental to the development of Nigeria's democratic process. Only recently, the governor of Anambra State, former CBN governor Soludo, Professor Soludo, criticized or expressed reservation over the projects executed by former Anambra State governor, now presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi. Now, Peter Obi just recently also replied what the English people would say retorted, and said, well, he has done his little, he has contributed his little to the development of Anambra, that he expects Soludo, who is a professor, to do more. Then when you look at the PDP and the APC, their spokespersons have been lambasting each other. Dino Melaye doing his own, former aviation minister doing his own, the son, I remember his name now, Keamo, doing his own. And sometimes full page on a newspaper is awash with either one party trying to undo the other. Well, that is the scenario. I will start with Ambassador Andrew Eigalua. He's an ambassador of peace. As an ambassador of peace, this is where you really come in now. You know. So what's your take?
Well, before I say anything.
Yes.
For the benefit of the viewers, we have to define the concept campaign.
Okay.
To me, campaign is a system whereby political parties, through its candidates,
Yes.
tell the citizens
Okay.
who are the voters, what they will do, how they will wrestle power from the incumbent, or stay in power if the party is in power.
Yes.
And how do you do this? Is when you deliver your manifesto or propaganda, however you want to use the language. But in these days, or especially in Africa, they don't know the meaning of campaign. Why am I saying this? Most times when they go campaigning, it's like they capitalize on the gullibility of the people, the citizens. Because most Nigerians, most Africans, we are gullible. We don't know what we are doing. When you talk about campaign, if you go campaign and tell the citizens, oh, if you vote me into power, I will do this, I will do that. You must not overflog your propaganda or your manifesto.
Yes.
So that they will think this is the right party.
Okay.
Say what you can do. It is what you tell them they will look at.
Yeah.
And that will determine the factor with which they are going to vote for party A or party B. Let me take your mind back to in 2014.
Yes.
During the presidential election.
Yes.
When Buhari brought Buhari into power.
Okay.
Fashola, let me be specific.
Yes.
He came and he campaigned on
As
behalf of
the former governor of
no, Fashola, the current Minister of Energy right now.
Yes. He was the former governor of Lagos State.
Lagos State.
Yes.
He campaigned. He said, and I quote, a reasonable party should be able to give its citizens electricity within 6 months. Who are you going to carry that campaign manifesto propaganda to that will not consider you before any other party? Because we all know one of the major problems in Nigeria is electricity. And somebody is coming to tell you, if you vote us into power, we'll give you electricity.
Yes.
Are you going to leave that party and go and vote for the other party? No. But 8 years down the drain, is there electricity in Nigeria? No. And again, our current president, Muhammadu Buhari, he campaigned. He said the fleet of aircraft in the presidency will be reduced when he's in power. That is going to convert the private jet to commercial jet. For God's sake, how do you convert a private jet that has about limited seats, about 15 persons inside, to a commercial flight that takes 200 to 250, 300 passengers? How are you going to do that? He campaigned with it. That is not going to use a private jet. Is that possible? As we speak, is there anything like Nigeria Airways now that was introduced by APC as a government? You just capitalize on the gullibility. And let me make this part clear. A private jet to a president of a nation is not luxury. It's your entitlement. It's part of your working tools. It's like you are, a governor will be campaigning now. Vote me if I win. I won't use a government vehicle. I will be taking taxis to work. Is that how you're going to help the state? It's your right. Official car. That is how the flight, the presidential jet is an official car for every president, even to the least, one of the smallest countries in the world, Cameroon or Liberia. Their president, they use private jets. So it's not a big deal. Why should you campaign with such propaganda or manifesto as part of the things that you would do? Tell the people what you would do. Like a current aspirant now that is going for the presidency, I don't want to mention his name.
Yeah.
Before now, he said, I will never use a private jet. I will use a commercial flight to anywhere I'm going. He has not won his election, he has started using private jets. I don't want to mention his name. He has not won his election, he has started using private jets. Must you campaign with such frivolities because Nigerians are gullible? So they don't even know the meaning of campaign. In America, in civilized world, when Obama was campaigning, he campaigned with the health sector. He said he's going because in America, you pay through your nose when you go to the hospital. He campaigned with that if I'm voted into power, I will reduce the tax or whatever concerning health. He came out with Obamacare. And when he was voted into power, he actually worked on that because this is what you promised the people. Yeah. But do you know that you can be taken to court or can be sued for not keeping up to your campaign promises.
That's in an enlightened
environment, society, you can be sued for it. I will do this, I will do that. But Nigerians just capitalize on our gullibility and ignorance to be telling us trash. They don't even know the meaning of campaign. And like you said before this program started, campaign of calumny, going to the extreme. You are tell the people what you want to do. You don't insult people. You don't use a derogatory statement on your opponent. Go straight to the point. People are not stupid. They are listening to you. Must you reply your opponent with harsh words or words that are inflammatory? No. Okay. Those are not campaign strategy. And most of these political aspirants, presidential aspirants, they tend to pick on those people that have, I call them running mouth, public tap, that can talk anyhow and use wrong languages. Do you think this is your campaign manager because you can talk stupidly? No. We should be refined and know the meaning of campaign, because it's a prerequisite for winning an election. A party that does not campaign, how are you going to win an election? You can't win an election. So when you campaign, your manifesto, your propaganda, that is what people look at before they will vote you into power. And you know what you are campaigning for.
Thank you very much. Very expository opening remarks by Andrew Eigalua. He is also the chairman of United Democracy, a pressure group, very, very formidable pressure group in the political terrain in Nigeria. So you could see his line of thought. He will be giving us more. But let's get the thought of Mr. Mogbe Ainwafo. Your opening remarks to this topic.
Thank you very much.
Thank you too
for having me. First and foremost, my colleague has really thrown light on the meaning of the word campaign.
Okay.
And our topic for the day is campaign of political parties.
Yes.
First of all, I would like to say that the political campaign period of this dispensation, I mean this 2023 election, I think started sometime in September, and it's going to end on the eve of the election, or a day or 2 days before the election. During this period, candidates or political parties are expected to convey, as my colleague has said, convey what they intend to do and what they can do. It is very sad in this part of the world that even our so-called leaders or political candidates from their different parties most of them say things they know they can achieve.
Things they can achieve or they can't
what
achieve?
They cannot achieve.
Okay.
If you look at even as far back as in 1993,
yes,
during the campaign period of MKO Abiola,
yes,
you discover that, and if you look at the present dispensation, it's just like a replica of what Abiola was saying as at that time. So it's like copy and paste. That's what they are doing. Copy and paste. Copy and paste. This issue of you already know, like some of them will say they will eradicate, like my colleague has said just now, that they said in 6 months, I think in 2014, that in 6 months they are going to give us light. They knew that they cannot afford it. They knew they don't.
Are you sure they knew, or they thought they could, but probably they made brick wall while they attempted to implement such policies?
They know, because like Ambassador has said just now, they tell Nigerians what they want to hear, not actually what they can achieve. Because if you look at even people in the political space in Nigeria, I don't want to use some kind of harsh language.
Yes.
They are never the best brains you have.
How do you mean?
They are never the best brain. Because a situation whereby you see a professor of law, or vice president, deputizing somebody like the president. In 1978, 79, during Shagari, the vice president was even more eloquent, more trained. So the best brains are never on top in this country, and that is also a challenge, because you discover that a situation whereby you just based on some ethnic or some kind of religious belief, somebody is put into a place to lead, we will continue to have this issue of unbaked leaders. You cannot tell me if to put side by side the vice president, the current vice president of this country, putting side by side in a free and fair election, with Asiwaju Tinubu, that Asiwaju will win the vice president. So we never have the best brain to always lead us. That is on one aspect. On the issue of whether what they actually, you just chip in something just like if they actually are sure that they can carry out what their promises are. But I want to still tell you that they already know the resources that are needed in this execution of some of these promised projects that they use to campaign. But they already know, even before the election, even before they start unfolding their plans, they already know that the resources are not there. Because like I always say, it is not who leads this country that is our problem. The formation of the country is already a problem. It's already sick. What is Nigeria as a country that is developing using 109 senators for? What are they legislating? We have 300 and something House of Representative members. What are they saying? All these things eat up our revenue. And where most of the revenue that we get for some projects are being eaten by maintaining these office holders, you find out that we will continue to be where we are. So, like I have said, my submission as regards the Nigerian election is the problem is not who leads this country. The problem is not who stays in Aso Rock as the #1 citizen. The problem is the formation, the political formation, the political mentality of our so-called leaders.
Okay, thank you very much. I can see that you belong to the school of thought that actually believe that there need to be a constitutional review of the constitution. I think that's what you're saying. While some others talked about devolution of powers and all of that, going back to the way Nigeria used to be ruled, where the regions were very powerful and allowed to take care of themselves or make wealth. But all that surely will come into play, maybe in the nearest future. But for now, the politicians are busy because the 2023 general election is fast approaching. And we can see cross-carpeting, we can see defections, we can see strategies being evolved. Well, like I said, we don't have a thought force. Ambassador of Peace. Looking at the way things are now, we have the major parties. We have the APC, we have the PDP. Now, Labour Party has come up, and the Labour Party seem to have massive followership on social media and otherwise. And they said, well, they also have structure because initially we were criticized of not having structures. But we saw the campaign of Peter Obi even to Edo State. We saw the movement in other states as well. Now, looking at the political terrain, these political parties, are you sure Labour Party will give headache to PDP and APC?
Good question.
Okay.
To a layman,
yes.
When I mean a layman that is not a politician,
Yes.
they will think we have 3 candidates. But for a real politician, we have 2 political parties and 2 candidates, which is Atiku Abubakar of PDP and Asiwaju Tinubu of APC.
I disagree with you.
Good.
I disagree with you. Because I know that if we
layman,
open the phone lines now, the youths that we call in, they will not be happy with this statement that you just made. Because they believe that Peter Obi is a very, very substantive, is a very formidable presidential candidate.
That is why I said for a layman.
Are you saying all those youths are laymen?
let me tell you.
Okay.
Politics is dynamic.
Okay.
Politics is technical. When you see, as a footballer, you say
Yes.
this person is not technical,
Yes.
this player. What do you mean as a coach? Because of playing a match, you see some players, where they are supposed to fall to get a penalty,
Yes.
they resist as if they are wrestlers.
Okay.
They will say, this player is not technical. Just let you fall, the referee will point his whistle.
Are you talking
Penalty.
about football tricks like the Diego Maradona hand
Yeah,
of God?
Ronaldo and the big players, they know when to get penalties. But
Okay.
you see some African players, they resist.
Yes.
The referee will say, play on, because your resistance cannot give you penalty. That is how politics is.
Okay.
That's why I said laymen. This social media thing, use blah, blah, they are not politicians. One, when they talk about structure is a very broad language. When you say you don't have a structure, it's not human being that is the structure. Like what I always tell people, I said, first and foremost, the governor is the chief security officer of his state.
Yeah.
He determines what happens in every state.
Yeah.
Unless that government is not a government. Are you getting it? About a month ago, in Enugu, was it in Enugu? Some group of youth, they wanted to hold Labour Party meeting. What happens? Some people brought in 5 motorbikes, shot in the air, dispersed them. What language did they use? Hoodlums. They won't tell you it's Labour. And you can't prove it. You that was discharged from your gathering a few minutes ago, you think another gathering will take place in another part of that Enugu, or another day they will gather again. The instructor will tell them, don't shoot anybody, but despite that crowd, is it not when you gather?
That you can take decision.
Take decision. In Rivers recently,
Yes.
there was a community. 3 people were shot. Labor. So that's why we say technical aspect of the whole thing plays out as a politician on how you can win. Then again, INEC, the umpire body, came out to say, was it last month as well, that 7 million votes are invalid. No, registered voters are invalid. The recent PVC. Some people that are making noise now, they don't have PVC. Some of them are not in Nigeria. They can't come and vote. And those that are here, they only went to register recently. They don't be giving their PVC. These are the people you see on the street. They're shouting Obi or one thing. To me, I would prefer a youthful man like Peter Obi and intelligent and all that. But with the kind of politics we play in Africa, everything comes to play for you to be a winner in our election. Not necessarily the rented crowd or the support crowd that you see. About 4 days ago, local government election was held in Niger State. Did Labour win any seat? Niger State. Not even one. No local government out of 22 or 23 or so, not even one councillor. Prior to this time, 2 governorship elections were held, Osun and Oyo State. Labour did not even come third. So they should see the signs of winning.
But don't you think they are still galvanizing? They are still, building their own structure because they didn't actually come into limelight like other parties. So don't you think they are still galvanizing?
My brother,
Probably what you're
let
talking
me tell
about.
you. Do you know that Labour once had a state under Mimiko?
Yes, on those states.
Is it today we started hearing about Labour? When he won, what happened? He decamped to PDP immediately. As we speak, if out of the 2 governorship elections that were held recently, Labour have been able to win one, signs that they are coming. Recently, local government election in Niger State, no seats, no local government won by Labour. Nothing. Councillor, nothing. And the elections, they were not rigged. The same people, it's like empty vessel making noise. You people will get shocker when the time comes. In Lagos, was it in 3 weeks ago, in Lagos State, when they did the 1 million march for Labour? 1 million march. We think people were thinking, Lagos is now for Labour. Then APC came out with 5 million march. Where did they get the crowd? I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. That's why I said people are going to get shocker in this election. And it's not going to be an election that will be manipulated. It will be there, black and white.
Okay.
And, sorry, if you talk about tribal sentiments right now, the gladiators in the eastern part of the country, where the supposed Obi comes from, they are all against it. Soludo just made his own opinion recently. People were now attacking him. He did not drink. He did not put water in his mouth before he said or wrote what he said, or he wrote what
his public statement.
His public statement. He knew. And he said, Obi knows he's not going to win the election. He knows what he's saying. And even Obi himself knows it will be by the grace of God if Labour wins this presidential election.
So, well, before I allow Mr. Awanfo to make his comments, I can see that it's very itching. I must quickly say that we'll take a break by 2. But there's something that Andrew Ighalo has said, that the 2023 general election will be a shocker. I don't know if he's aware that Dino Melaye of the PDP said PDP will shock Nigerians in 2023. I know we'll react to that, but quickly we'll take a break before Mr. Awanfo will comment. Nice to have you back. Before the break, I just said that Senator Dino Melaye informed Nigerians to be ready for that Nigerians will be shocked in 2023. I don't know if that is what Andrew Ighalo is insinuating, but he said that Nigerians will be shocked too. But I can see that Mr. Omogbe Awanfo has comments to make on the politicking that is going on. Is it that do you think these political parties really have ideology, or they're just campaigning like that?
I said it earlier. They might have, but not an achievable one, not the one they know that they can accomplish. First of all, I want to, on the issue of their plans or their manifesto, like the APC, we have seen how they are approaching their campaign strategies
yeah.
And how I think they went to Jos recently. They were in Jos recently.
Yes.
And we saw the number of people, the turnout, although it was alleged that they were stoned out of Jos. But we know that some of those things might be masterminded by 1 or 2 groups. We have also seen that of a Labour Party that was in Nasarawa. The turnout was massive. And recently, the one of PDP in Cross River, right? I think it was in Cross River. They are actually approaching the electoral date gradually by the day. But however, I still say that I'm still yet to see or to hear what I expect them to be conveying to us. It's only recently, I think yesterday, Atiku Abubakar was talking about the issue of restructuring, the issue of resource control, that he has prepared the bill even before the election that is going to make sure resource control and through federalism and all the rest are well articulated. But however, I still want to throw more light on this issue of the third force. Actually, I appreciate the coming of the third force, but the way people are looking at it, it is not like that. We have seen a situation whereby the political situation
Yes.
gets a little bit as if it's becoming too tensed. You see one party attacking the other one insulting the other person. I
Yes.
think they should use that time to educate the electorate. Instead of you saying this one is too old, this one is too sleeps in one emir's palace and all those things. That time can be used.
And
to
that the presidential kindly has one illness that is scary.
You understand? So I think it's so
Yes.
babyish, it's so kindergarten for especially the youth, the way they carry pictures of Asiwaju when as if he's sleeping, things like that. Atiku. But one thing I want to still tell our youth is that these political gladiators are our friends. They are friends. They are friends. But you see people in New Benin Market, whenever you talk about an issue of PDP in New Benin Market, you might even be stoned to death. A friend of mine called me recently that if whoever is supporting a political party outside Labour Party is a curse on the country. It's an aberration. I called him to say, you are still not civilized enough to understand. I still want to even throw more light. Actually, this Peter Obi's movement, how did it come about? Peter Obi had to move out of PDP because what he was asking for or what he wanted was not given to him. To be precise, April 1st, 2021, Peter Obi bought PDP nomination form for 40 million. And when he saw the body language in the party, he had to pull out. What now changed from Peter Obi before April 1st and after April 1st? What has changed? Because they are just as if it's just from heaven, like Christ, as if it's just a kind of an angel that has just come, you know. So a lot of people will still have the shocker, like Ambassador has said just now, because I always tell a lot of people that rallies don't win elections. Even in the United States,
Yes.
I have been part of mobilizing some people when some legislators during the time of Oshomole
Yes.
was some legislators from Wunde, they were decamping from PDP to APC.
Yes.
I was part of those that mobilized people to Ropota Hall.
Okay.
2 weeks later, I was called upon again to still mobilize some people for another rally. I still went to the same people.
Yes.
So when you see a crowd, a kind of maybe like what happened.
Okay,
in
you
Nasarawa.
use the same crowd for two different political parties.
Yes. So in Nasarawa, I think they said they had close to Obi's movement had close to 5,000 or 5 million people. And I told my boy in the office, go and write it down. You are saying the attendance of Nasarawa was more than 9 million. Go and see 5 million. Go and see if Peter Obi will score 9 million in the election. And if he scores, I'll give you $1 million. He was laughing at me. So rallies or blocking of roads don't win elections.
You are saying it doesn't even reflect
At all.
what's on the ground.
At all, especially this part of the country we are, where if ambassador is going to, for example, hold any rally in Oluku community now, somebody like me that resides around might mobilize people for him.
Okay.
And in the same way, maybe after 3 weeks, you want to still do similar thing.
Yeah.
The same people I will still mobilize for you. So Nigerians should understand that the issue, the emergence of Peter Obi, I quite appreciate it. Like I always say, if all of them, all these candidates, they kind of have a stalemate results, kind of, and they only need one vote for one to emerge, I'll give it to Obi. I'm not anti-Obi, but the reality, the scientific nature of our politics, it is very clear that he goes nowhere.
You mean that?
He goes nowhere. Who is going to deliver Kano State for Obi? Who is going to deliver Kaduna State for Obi? Or even Lagos State? And in the Electoral Act, you must score 25% in all the states to be declared winner in a Nigerian presidential election. You think Peter Obi under El-Rufai, he will score 25%? or in Borno State.
A miracle can take place because the way the social media is awash, it appears the awareness is very high.
The awareness is high because these southern youth are so involved in wasting their time in social media. If you have been opportunity to go a little bit top north, after Kogi, if you are entering Abuja, the northerners you see there, they still hold this 3310 phone. They don't tweet, they don't social media.
Yes.
Those ones are when they say, na umbrella, oh, na umbrella. If they are saying it's broom, oh, it's broom. How will Nigerians think that a place like Borno State, Obi can score 25%? So most of our youth that are just wasting their precious time when there's 1 million march, when there's 5 million march, it is because most of them are not really gainfully employed. Even if Peter Obi is going to be in a local primary school this afternoon, you will see my kids there. They're in school. But there are some people around that will always find time to do some of those things because they have time to waste. Rallies, I can say it time without numbers, rallies don't win elections. Rallies don't win elections. I don't know what has changed from the issue of a PDP member before. He has left the party, now he's now a saint. So I quite appreciate the thought force, but like I say, it's not a threat. It's not even supposed to be a topic of discussion as far as I'm concerned.
To that extent?
To that extent, yes,
okay.
Without fear of favor.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Awanfo. Andre Galua, now the way forward. These campaigns, don't you think it ought to be issue-based campaigns instead of some persons trying to run down their opponent, trying to drag the name of their opponent in the mud? What kind of campaigns should the different political parties actually focus on? Because February for the presidential election is fast approaching.
Well, campaign as a strategy
yes.
in an election is not a pushover.
Okay.
It's a factor that you must use and use it very well.
Okay.
Like I said, it's a prerequisite for winning an election.
Yes.
But how you campaign depends on you and your party. Let me use this opportunity to advise PDP as a party. Right now they have crisis. Serious crisis that they shouldn't sweep under the carpet. The leadership of the party.
Yes.
They have a national chairman, which is Ayu, your child. And prior to the primaries, he said, if a Northerner emerges as the candidate of the party, I will step down. We are not the only people in the party. Maybe he thought a Northerner cannot emerge. Now a Northerner has emerged. Why don't you do the honorable thing and still step down? And he's trying to put Atiku in a tight corner. The party, they're already campaigning against themselves. If you watch, Wike is already doing anti-party, calling leaders from other parties to come and declare commission projects. These are signs. And the election is fast approaching. Why don't they do the needful? You can't compare 5 governors to one person. There are different strategies, like I said. If the 5 governors are insisting that you should go, then I should, for the benefit of the party. If you love the party so much, to step down and make a press briefing that because of the love I have for the party, let me step down for peace. Then, if that happens, then it's going to be a very stiff competition between APC and PDP. But the way it is right now, PDP.
Now, you just mentioned Wike, and immediately I just recall Wike seemed to be very busy lately. We saw massive appointment, political appointments. Is it a campaign strategy for Wike?
Good.
Okay.
Like I said initially,
Yes.
when I told you there are technical ways of winning an election.
Okay.
Wike just gave her 200,000, whether essays or something, which is within the ambit of the law, within the constitution, his constitutional rights, even if he's not going to pay. And let me tell you, in every election, there's what we call units. In that unit, there's a register of all the registered voters in that unit with voters card. Somebody that has been able to give her 200,000 jobs, that means that state is as good as won by the party the governor wants the person to wants to win that state. 200,000. How many votes do you need to win a state? 300,000, 350, thereabout, depending. But because the criteria for giving her that job, show your voters card.
What about loyalty? You know, some people believe that eat their money and vote your conscience.
Let me tell you how it works. Show your voters card, good, you get the job. It's for 3 months. It's a temporary job till after the election. Maybe 40K or 50K. People are ready to pump it. Not that Wike is stealing the state's money. People are ready to fund it. Pay these people. Then,
so that they can deliver their unit.
On election day, that is why we still say that Labour has no structure. Let me give you one expo. On election day, there's what we call agents to represent every party.
Yes.
To monitor votes. And if Labour, like somebody gave me a calculation of all the agents, when I'm going to pay them 30,000, whether going to amount to about 6 billion to pay all agents in every unit in Nigeria. Yes, we'll be going to get that for. And you know, these agents, there are some group of people, let me not mention their name, specified, on which, on that day of the election, your agent can compromise when he gets money. Because after the election, agents are supposed to follow the result, and not the voters. The voters, they will come and go home.
Yes.
I voted. Is it me that is an ordinary voter that will follow you to INEC office?
No.
Fine, they've come to vote, but the agent that will follow, the sheets, the result sheets, can be altered on the way. By the time the agent gets money.
But it's now electronic voting, transmission, and all of that. There'll be situation rooms, and results will be transmitted.
Okay. No problem. So let me just leave it there.
Now, when you see the way Ambassador Ighalo has said, that's $1 million question. But I know my view out there, they are monitoring the situation. Some persons understand how it works, how politics, how the kind of democracy that we practice in Nigeria, it works. And I believe they understand what is going on, what my guests seem to have posited on the program, 60 Minutes Nigeria, a current affairs program where we dissect national issues. We are looking at campaigns of political parties, and of course, don't forget, February 2023, the presidential election we hold. INEC is busy. INEC is making a lot of announcements, and they're also publishing lists, check your names and all of that. They want to dot the I's and cross the T's so that they can actually deliver, if not 100% perfect, near perfect elections. And we commend what INEC has done so far. Well, Mr. Iwanfo, the way forward, how do we actually get things right before the 2023 election?
I will personally advise some of these political parties, that they should focus on issue-based campaign, and they should still focus on this issue of using this social media in disseminating informations. The idea of just packing human beings to a particular place and just start giving the impression that because you have 5 million in a particular place, then you are leading. I think it should be discouraged. Because if you look at the situation whereby, I think somewhere in Jos, a legislator died recently from Lagos State, died during election, during their campaign.
It's APC.
It's APC, yes,
in
Jos, in Lagos State died a few days ago, if not even last week. So I would advise that they should not capitalize on just jam-packing people in a place, all in the name of campaign. There are TV houses, there are billboards, even while it's prohibited in some quarters now that you can't put billboard in, if you belong to a particular political party, you can't put in a particular place and all that. But I think these are medium by which you can still campaign. It doesn't really mean if you don't gather your crowd in Ogbe Stadium, you are not campaigning. We have all these social media, billboards, and television houses, so that at the end of the day, we're not seeing a situation whereby people are being attacked now during campaign. We should not still rule that out. We are going into the first.
No, but we saw the attacks in Kaduna
Yes,
State.
Kaduna,
when PDP went there, they were attacked.
Even recently in Ebonyi State.
Yes,
in Ebonyi.
Rivers,
some states.
They were
We've
shot.
seen- yeah.
Rivers, they were
We've seen
shot.
some
Three
attacks.
persons.
Yes, few days ago in Ebonyi State, I think Labour Party, they were converging in a place. Government just came and shot at them. So the political campaign managers, I would advise that they should try as much as possible to be this kind of not to be
Not
using
to
other
allow
mediums.
heated
Yeah.
politics.
And this issue of jam-packing everybody. Peter Obi's movement gathered 5 million in Ondo State. I must gather 6 million in Rivers. I think that we should be discouraged.
Okay, thank you very much. Your closing remarks, Ambassador Igelua. Closing remarks.
Well, campaign of calumny should be raised.
Okay.
If you are campaigning, you don't force yourself on people. Say it politely. They will hear. They will listen. You don't cajole people. You don't. Which language do I want you to use now?
Yes.
Because they must vote for you. Do it in a civilized way, and people know who is good to govern them or who is good to rule them, and they know who to vote for.
Yeah, before you leave the stage, now, do you think the issue of age, because some persons call you political octopus, I need to say it on here, he has, Andrew Igelua has a knack for predicting results of things, but he's not going to predict, I'm not going to task him now to predict who will win the presidential election, because that will be next year. But do you think age will be a factor in probably convincing the voters to vote for any particular political party just before we call it a day?
Age is a factor, depending on the age you are talking about.
Okay.
Somebody that is 40 might be too young. Somebody that is 90 or 80 might be too old. But if you look at it, it's your person. Most leaders of the world today, like Joe Biden, just did his 80th birthday. He spent 35 years as a senator in the Senate. But the Americans, they knew him, they know what he can do, and they voted for him, irrespective of his age.
Yes.
So age is not a barrier. And even if you are old and sensible, you should know that at my age, do I really need to go and stash money somewhere? At my age, don't I think I should leave a legacy? At my age, don't I think I should do things right?
Okay.
Compared to a younger person that will still believe, oh, if I rule this country at 60, after 4 years, I still have enough time to marry many wives. So let me go and stash money somewhere. So age is not a barrier. It depends on who.
Okay, Mr. Awanfo, a quick one. We'll be leaving the stage, but a quick one. Now, CBN plans to redesign currency. Do you think because of campaigns or because of this election? or you just think it's an economic policy?
No, I think-
And if you think so, is it working?
I think, personally, I think there is a political undertone attached to it anyway. We are still yet to really know why they had to do it as at this time, especially when it is still it still involves a lot of money to print more, to actualize the currency change.
Okay.
But to me, I think it has some political undertone.
Thank you very much. That's the program, 60 Minutes Nigeria. I hope you've enjoyed the comments of my guests on this week's edition of the program. We'll be looking at campaigns of political parties. They've talked about a lot of issues. Take home for you, depends on how you look at it. My name is Ego Sagbola. I do have a wonderful weekend ahead. Bye-bye.